All right, welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. It's Shanola girl. Okay, um, man. So I want to talk about what happened with a player, Blake Whiteheart, the tight end, crushing Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand. Okay, I want to talk about that. The oddest thing about the entire situation is how they tried to protect who did it, first and foremost, and selling it off as a freak accident, but not wanting to identify the person if it was a freak accident was also problematic. So I shared the video. I went live probably about 2 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning. It wasn't a freak accident. And understand this, right? Every time something happens to Shedeur, it's more and a more detrimental, not just to his career, like wristband gate or excessive sacks in the Rams game or taking him out the game for the Wildcats. All of that was meant to negatively affect his career impact. Now, remember, Shedeur's being evaluated. Technically, he's interviewing for other teams. He's auditioning for another team. And Andrew Berry told us a few things. One thing I'll never forget Andrew Berry saying is that the quarterback position is the most important position on the team. So normally you protect your quarterback. The O-line is to protect the quarterback. And one of the things Kevin Stefanski had Shedeur doing in this game, if you pay attention, was trying to turn him into a check down king. So he'll stay in the pocket where his O-line can protect him. But that's not what's happening. And it seems like in Cleveland, the quarterback is the most important position on the team until Shedeur Sanders or a black quarterback becomes the most important position on the team. That's what it's given when you look at the history of Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. 11 quarterbacks. All of the black quarterbacks have either been severely injured, like Deshaun Watson, or devalued, like Jameis Winston, PJ Tucker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Now it's Shedeur's turn. What's the issue, you ask? Well, the Browns have never drafted a black quarterback in the first round ever. And Shedeur was expected to be the first until they remembered they had Deshaun, who they got on a trade. But understand this. If I've never drafted a black quarterback in the first round, I must not value black quarterbacks. And with the way Kevin Stefanski is allowed to abuse and devalue and betray and humiliate black quarterbacks, it seems that that's the culture in Cleveland. So you have people saying Shedeur needs to get the hell out of Cleveland because the culture in Cleveland is not black quarterback friendly. Even before Stefanski arrived, with Deshaun Kaiser being a black quarterback and Hugh Jackson being a black head coach incentivized to lose. I watched the Raw Room today. They were talking to a player named Sammy, who was a wide receiver or a running back at the time that they went 0-16 with Deshaun Kaiser. I was listening to them talk about how stacked the team was in terms of talent. They even talked about how they rotated all of the quarterbacks that they had. So see, they did this before Kevin Stefanski, which is why they hired Kevin Stefanski, because one of the requirements of the job is to what? Make sure the black quarterback isn't the focal point of the team. If we've never drafted a black quarterback in the first round, and we're doing everything to make sure that we don't draft a black quarterback in the first round, to celebrate them, let them lead the team, we don't value black quarterbacks. And even when we had a black head coach, we didn't value the black head coach. We didn't value the black quarterback. So out goes Hugh Jackson. Someone else comes in. Then it's Kevin Stefanski's turn. Right at 2020, when George Floyd dies and NFL apologizes. But the Browns do everything to make sure they don't draft a black quarterback in the first round. The last time they drafted a black wide receiver in the first round, it was 2016. In 2025, they were supposed to get Shedeur, the person they have on the ground now that the team is actively betraying at every opportunity. All Shedeur gets from the Browns is betrayal. That's it. It started in the spring, and it was just in practice behind closed doors. We could see things were wrong. And now that he made it to QB1 into the game, I have to let you play, but I don't have to let you win. And there was a fight to even let him play, but he can't play freely. So I was typing in some information about videos that I was making, and AI sent me a comment. The sabotage is escalating. How many games are there left? 2. 2 games left. And this most recent game, although I had to let you play QB1, I put you in quarterback jail by making you a check down king, robbing you of the opportunity to throw the long ball, deep ball accuracy, something you're good at. And Stefanski was allowed to suppress Shedeur's quarterback skills. What does that tell you? That the same ownership that hired Hugh Jackson, where he reported he was incentivized to lose, who hired Deshaun Kaiser, who they let go 0-16, and fired Black Harvard educated Sashi Brown, the GM, because he wanted to draft Lamar Jackson, a Black quarterback. So look at the extremes the Browns have gone through historically under the ownership of Jimmy Haslam when it comes to Black quarterbacks. So what we're seeing with Shedeur is what was happening to Doug Williams. But here's the difference, right? Somebody on that team stood up for Doug Williams. I read the story. Don't treat him that way. Treat him with respect. Nobody in the Cleveland orbit stands up for Shedeur or has the courage. Instead, they have watched this young man be abused like he was Jesus carrying the cross before they hung him on it. Facts. Being cruelty. Just cruelty is the point. Just being cruel. And we have gone from stopping him from being developed to be ready to trying to prove that he doesn't have the mental cognitive ability to lead a team or to process plays. So the Browns are still using racial stereotypes against Black quarterbacks. Not a secret. The NFL has an ugly, disgusting history against Black quarterbacks. And the Cleveland Browns are allowed to exact those ugly behaviors from the past against Shedeur Sanders. And it has gone from attacking his mental. It's saying he's mentally inept and perpetuating stereotypes and embarrassing him in practice and trying to make him seem like he isn't wanted or isn't valued. We're well beyond recruiting players to drop passes. We're well beyond fumbling passes in the end zone by tight ends. We have now stepped into pain. And I talked about that before this game. It said that pain is a weapon. Pain is a strategy to make the quarterback, the Black QB1, unavailable. Pat Mahomes available? Lamar Jackson available? Jordan Love? Malik Willis available? Pain has entered the chat. It's time to send out an SOS because it's proven that no one in Cleveland will step up for Shedeur to protect him from the disgusting humiliation, betrayal, and physical harm. Stepping on your own quarterback. So his nail was your own quarterback's throwing hand. Crushing it. What was the goal? So he couldn't play so Dylan could get in? Was that the goal? So what they going to do next? Somebody said cut the line on his brakes. I will put it past them. They are into physical harm. And bullies don't quit. Kevin Stefanski has created a toxic culture whereby recruiting players that are not acting independently. It's too many of them. You have the holder of the ball taking the ball and throwing it away. I watched film of botched field goals. The holder typically takes the ball and runs with it. He don't throw it away so you can't get 3 points. The tight end, Brendan Bates, jostling the ball in the end zone. It should have brought back the Celebration Bowl. It's the same thing. It should have brought back Mark Andrews. It's the same thing. Why is it always a white tight end? Stefanski has successfully recruited and created a toxic culture. There are no consequences, but only protection for Whiteheart. Protecting his identity as the one that crushed his quarterback's hand. The Browns have that much problem with black quarterbacks. Why do you keep trading for them and or acquiring them? Because going to Cleveland for a black quarterback is sabotage. That is why the name of Dante Moore is on the lips of every black quarterback hater, trying to push and steer him to the Browns, where there are already two other black quarterbacks. One they refuse to let play, and the other they're letting play, but they're trying to harm his physical person so he can't play, so they can justify benching him. And when he can play, we're going to turn him into a check down king so he don't get all the oohs and ahs and people don't see how great he is. Newsflash, we already know how great he is, and we already know what Kevin Stefanski is. And we know he's recruiting his white tight ends. We know he got to Jerry Jeudy. We know he got to 72 and 68. Why? Because he doesn't make adjustments. There are no consequences for not protecting the quarterback. And I have shown you footage and photos in one game. The O-line protected Dylan like Fort Knox. And in the second half of that game, they did not protect Shedeur, and they haven't protected. Of a power outage, but I'm still back. So, okay, so I'm going to put the video back on the screen because I want to go through this. I talked about this. This is important, right? It's important to understand how intentional the harm is to Shedeur Sanders, what it is making people do. Since we know this has been going on, the sabotage, right? The humiliation, the disgusting behavior to make sure Shedeur can't play the game. Here's the question. Just how vile was the sabotage this summer before the cameras were let in? Just how humiliating was the sabotage in isolation in plain sight? Because we see the head coach has managed to turn players, to recruit players. It's not a coincidence that the play before Shedeur's finger got crushed was Brendan Bates jostling the ball around. It's in his hand. It's not a coincidence that Shedeur had to go to Brendan Bates after number 44 already scored a touchdown. It's not a coincidence that that sequence of plays all took place. And before the half, to avoid 3 more points. So I have a flub touchdown and I have a field goal. That's 10 points. It's 2 sets of scores that the team was robbed of because Stefanski has done nothing but plan to lose. And here's the thing. People want to say it's tanking. They're not doing anything to tank. When you tank, you get rid of people so you can make room. They ain't making room for nobody. The only person they cut recently was an O lineman that protected Shedeur last week. The job application for Cleveland is, if you're going to protect for Shedeur, if you're going to stand up for Shedeur, if you're going to show compassion for Shedeur, we will cut you, terminate your contract, ostracize you, or somehow have leverage on you that you think we're going to cut you. Or we're just going to cut you. Tony Brown. There's multiple counts of this. Wyatt Teller is not injured. And they won't let him play. Dylan Sampson is not injured. And they won't let him play. Kevin Stefanski has tried to move up the fourth string. The third and the fourth string, the lesser skilled, lesser paid players who we're supposed to see as incompetent, when in fact, we see them making decisions, number 68 and 72. I'm not shocked that Kevin Stefanski recruited Brendan Bates or Blake Whitehart, who are white tight ends just like Andrews. It's the same play in the same place in the end zone. And it's against a black quarterback, so he don't score. It's the same tired play. It happened in the Celebration Bowl. That's why people were so distraught. It's the same play over and over and over. After Shedeur scores, we got to shut it down. That's probably why they came out and scored so quickly, because they knew what was going to happen if they waited to score. Nobody in Cleveland has the courage to stand up against the abuse and betrayal that Shedeur Sanders is facing. Nobody. And there seems to be zero accountability in the NFL. The same NFL that is the reason the ugly history exists today. So guess what? They either back at it or they're still at it. And when you go from 1968 to Marlon Briscoe to Doug Williams to Warren Moon, that's why Warren Moon went to Canada, because he saw what happened with Doug Williams. He saw what happened with Marlon Briscoe, and he was like, I'm out. I asked the other day, is Shedeur Sanders in the wrong league, the wrong professional league? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, because the league in its current time, with a historic year of 16 black starting quarterbacks, is once again violently not or black quarterback unfriendly. Lamar Jackson got kneed in the back. When do you see a quarterback get kneed back? And nobody can say this is typical. J.J. McCarthy has a hand injury, but guess how it happened? He had the ball stripped from him. Nobody was crushing his hand on his team, his throwing hand. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. This is disgusting. It's meant to make Shedeur unavailable at the QB1 position before the season ends. There's only 2 games. Stefanski successfully eliminated the Browns from any playoff run. So why are you trying to physically harm the quarterback who is in an evaluation period? Do you not want him to be traded somewhere else so you can get your white quarterback or put Dylan back out there? Even though the fans going to run you the hell out of Ohio, but that's on you. Why are you physically trying to harm Shedeur Sanders? Kevin Stefanski, he has a lot of explaining to do, because he does not make adjustments to the people who consistently fail. The quarterback, the most important position on the team, who is in an evaluation period because the GM said Shedeur will outproduce his draft stock, and Kevin Stefanski makes sure that doesn't happen. All of this rests on the shoulder of Kevin Stefanski because he chooses to act like a warden and an overseer. Shedeur Sanders' name is not Toby. I have said this before. I also said, is Shedeur ready for the sabotage that's going to come with this week? So since his father was there, aside from not blocking for him and triggering penalties, I guess Blake Whitehart thought a camera would not catch him leaning forward, crushing his quarterback's throwing hand. But it did. And we all see it. And they tried to cover it up. They didn't mind letting Jerry Jeudy catch that smoke. That's a message for Jerry Jeudy. But they doing everything, trying to suppress the story and don't want to talk about the intentionality of Blake Whiteheart to crush Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand so he can't be the quarterback. In the list of typical injuries that quarterbacks get, shoulder injuries, knee injuries, head injuries, ankle and foot injuries, hamstring, calf injury, throwing arm, hand issues that prevent them from gripping the ball. Thumb injuries. Brett Favre didn't get a thumb injury from his lineman stepping on his hand. But Shedeur Sanders was supposed to get a hand injury so he couldn't grip the ball, so he couldn't throw the ball, so he wouldn't be the quarterback. And you know how you know this? Where's the consequences for Blake Whiteheart? Where's the consequences for the O-line not protecting the quarterback? Where are the consequences for Jerry Jeudy for dropping passes? See how he just get to go out there and act like did nothing happen? And when he stops skipping to my Lou, we're going to shift it to Brendan Bates, and then we're going to shift it to number 13, and then we're going to shift it. This team is not that terrible. If so, it should be kicked out the league. This team is intentional with its abuse against black quarterbacks, devaluing black quarterbacks, even the black quarterbacks that they paid $230 million to. People like, so you trying to tell me that they let Deshaun Watson get hurt and they paid him $230 million? You got that right? That's what I'm telling you. Because what is the result of Deshaun Watson being out? An insurance company is picking up his $46 million salary. And you know they allowed the negligence to take place. This is gross workplace negligence. Sacked 33 times in 7 games. And Kevin Stefanski takes off his headset when the man gets injured. Mission accomplished. So now he over here trying to injure Shedeur. There are no consequences for Kevin Stefanski's underperforming head coaching. There are no consequences by Kevin Stefanski or the Browns front office for the abuse and the intentional harm against the quarterback, the most important position on the team. Since when do teams not protect their investment when the quarterback is black? It don't matter if they owe him 230 guaranteed American dollars or if they owe him 975,000. The fact that they are black quarterbacks and they are visibly black quarterbacks, they are not ambiguously black quarterbacks, puts them in danger in Cleveland, who does not value, because they have a pattern in history to prove they do not value black quarterbacks. We don't want you. We don't value you. And the way they are treated and devalued shows this. But the way we see, and we as 14 million people see how disgusting and how humiliating and how cruel the Browns have been intentional to betray Shedeur Sanders. We now look at their history. Shedeur Sanders is one of many in Cleveland. We weren't there for Jameis Winston. We weren't there for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We weren't there for Deshaun Kaiser, who said he was just doing nothing but getting worse. But they took pleasure in a black quarterback being on the field and going 0-16 because we don't want you, we don't value you, and because society says we have to play you, or we don't want you to go to another league or start your own league, we will humiliate you. We might have to play you, but we don't have to let you win. And they take pleasure in the humiliation. Whiteheart clearly took pleasure in trying to crush Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand. You think that was his idea? Then if you think Whiteheart had the idea to work independently, pay attention to Brendan Bates, who just all he did was mimic Mark Andrews. Why do you think it's always a tight end? Maybe because you can't get Jerry Jeudy to step on Shedeur's hand. He ain't going to go that far. He might drop a pass or two, but you see that came and went. Why? Because he got that smoke. This is why you didn't hear Whiteheart's name because they don't want him to get in trouble. Just like the two dirt divers, Joel Botonio and Jack Conklin, they don't want them to get in trouble, but they'll recruit 72 and 68 and let them make a plump fool out of themselves because all they're going to do is cut them. But they're going to protect Brenda Bates. They will protect Whiteheart. They will protect Joel Botonio. They are protecting Jack Conklin. And they're using the rest of them who are black. And the dumb holder of the ball, they're not protecting them. They let them catch that heat. That's why you stupid for doing it. And 68 and 72 better know. You're going to get it the worst because they're not even protecting you. How dumb do you have to be to take down your own black quarterback because they don't like black quarterbacks, because they don't value or appreciate black quarterbacks? You're going to get it the worst. But Tonio going to get off scot-free and live his life as a celebrated hero in Cleveland. You will not. They don't like you anyway. Because if they liked you, they would like Shedeur. Y'all just dumb. And the cowards that are over there, they supposed to be grown men. They supposed to be coaches. They supposed to be the men, but they can't do shit. No matter the race. Can't do shit. But just sit back and watch, which makes you complicit. And if this is how Cleveland is run, maybe it's time to start looking into a bunch of other locker rooms and seeing what's really going on. Cruelty is the point of Kevin Stefanski's game plan in his extracurricular activities. And he seems to have recruited some help. What was involved? Bribery? Because did you do it for free? Whiteheart, Brendan Bates, whoever the hell the damn holder of the ball is, 68, 72. Anytime you have that many people committing crimes, somebody gonna tell on somebody. Just wait. So we got 2 games left. And it's true. The sabotage is escalating. It's time for an SOS. They've gone from rigging the game, taking him out of the game, taking his wristband, having him sacked excessively because he's smart enough to get out of it. That's why Stefanski game plans to keep him in the pocket so he can get sacked. To harming his physical person. Ripping someone's fingernail off after you try to crush their hand, but that's all you could get, is excruciating. And the fact that Shedeur even still went out there and played, and you want to talk about a goddamn interception? There's no way he wasn't in pain, and it was cold. Freezing, to be exact. Somebody said, nephew is built for tough. He shouldn't have to be. People aren't built to be abused, to be betrayed by their own employer, for sustained sabotage by the head coach who's now recruiting people to enlist help on the field because all he can do is come up with a whack game plan. But he needs people on the field to drop passes, to pick up the ball instead of a field goal and throw it to the damn cameraman. He needs help on the O-line, which is why healthy players that are actually better than the players in the game are benched. That's all sorts of kind of crimes happening here. This is corruption at the highest levels. There's zero accountability. And the goal seems to be to make sure Shedeur Sanders doesn't end the season as a QB1. So I already tried to step on his hand, and I got 2 games left. And I got 14 million people staring me down and fans booing if Dylan get in there. And there's absolutely no reason to bench Shedeur. He should go on to play against the Bengals, to play against the Steelers. And we already know it's going to be rigged because Kevin Stefanski still works there. And that seems to be the point of him having a job and being not incompetent, but corrupt. He's not a head coach. He's more of a hired henchman or a hitman. And this is all on Haslam's shoulders because this is his team. And no matter how he tries to back out the door and hand over the reins to Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry didn't cause this mess. Andrew Berry said it. The quarterback position is the most important position on the team. Shedeur Sanders will outproduce their draft stock. And Kevin Stefanski has done everything so that does not happen. So Kevin Stefanski is working against the GM's initiatives for the damn players. So let's take a look at this, just in case you didn't see it, on how disgusting it is. The all Shedeur gets out of Cleveland is a betrayal. Yeah, it's time to trade Shedeur as a QB1 to another ball club. Absolutely. So his nail was almost like ripped off. So as you can see, he walked right up to it and he pressed his foot forward. His toes were forward, pressing on Shedeur's foot. Then his heel relaxes. So you see this. Watch it again. This is intentional. So Shedeur has to try to get his finger from underneath this man's foot who pressed forward. That's the part that I find disgusting. Look at this. Now look at his toe. Look at his toe. He's on his toes. What are you doing on your toes standing that close to another person? What are you doing? The play is over. What could you possibly be doing that Shedeur have to push you out the way to get up? What? And you know, it's funny how somebody wanted to say, oh, somebody in the comments was like, I see this all the time. Not in this context, you don't. In fact, it's not even listed that quarterbacks get their hands stepped on as a typical injury because it don't happen. Why? Because the quarterback is the most important position on the team. You see, the people that care about their quarterbacks, they protect their quarterbacks. They take that shit personally. I watched Fort Knox down there protecting Jackson Dart. And a player tried to hit Jackson Dart and did hit Jackson Dart in a very hard manner. And I watched that whole damn O-line try to go at him. Because when you care about the quarterback, you protect the quarterback. Shedeur didn't do anything to these people. Shedeur is a Black American quarterback in a league that had a historic year that wanted to end the draft with 16 instead of 17, giving Black quarterbacks the majority. But guess what? He was supposed to go undrafted to make it extremely difficult for Shedeur to get to QB1, but he still made it. And they get angrier and angrier and try to get more creative. And they know Coach Prime is going to be there. So that's why they tried to crush his hand where they didn't think anybody could see it. So he can't grip the ball so Dylan can play. Because the message and the agenda is still the same. We don't want you and we don't value you. And that's not just Cleveland. The same is happening to Lamar Jackson. And why is it happening to Lamar? Because Shedeur just got here. Because it'll be time to talk about Lamar Jackson's future contract. And he was already paid $230 some odd million. So if he was successful this year, guess what the conversation would be? $300 million. Because how much did Josh Allen get? And he only has one MVP. So they made it extremely difficult for Lamar Jackson to get that third MVP. He actually earned it last year and they cheated him out of it and gave it to Josh Allen along with the money. And they did everything they could this year. His own O-lineman stepping on his ankle. This only happens to Black quarterbacks. The white quarterbacks, like Joe Burrow, he gets turf toe. Shedeur Sanders, his white tight end steps and crushes his throwing hand so he can't throw the ball, so he can come out of the game. J.J. McCarthy gets a hand injury as the ball is stripped from him. Not with his white lineman stepping on his damn throwing hand. They would never do that to a white quarterback because they respect white quarterbacks. They do not respect Black quarterbacks. So these Black quarterbacks, including Dante Moore, who is coming in while everybody's going back to school, you better understand something. By any means necessary. There are 2 games left. The SOS is out. They've already attacked and tried to harm his physical person. They will stop at nothing. Because Shedeur is being evaluated. And they do not want him to end the season as a QB1 because they did everything imaginable and unimaginable in the draft to make sure he wasn't QB1. And who did that? And that is why Kevin Stefanski still has a job. So if you come into the NFL as a black quarterback, you are walking into hostile territory by any means necessary. They do not want 17, 18, 19, or 20 black starting quarterbacks by any means necessary. It's just disgusting. And the media know they should be talking about it. They know what's going on, but they won't talk about it. That's where the fans come in at. I hate Dante Moore even went to Oregon in the first place, because even if he wanted to stay in school, they would try to push him out. He should stay in school, because the betrayal and the sabotage and the unfriendliness, the unwelcoming for black quarterbacks is at an all-time high because of what's at stake. The league seems to be trying to do everything possible to not to get to 17 black starting quarterbacks. So you better know you walking into hostile territory if you coming into this draft. Get the bag and stay in school. But they're probably going to try to push and convince Dante Moore to move out. And Shedeur Sanders, you know we rolling with you 12, and we telling you for your own good. You are in hostile territory. If Kevin Stefanski has not been fired, the culture is still toxic, and more people are being recruited, and they trying to be sneaky with it, thinking we not gonna see it. So do everything in your person. Don't let them help you up. Just get up. Be independent in this game. These last two games, by the grace of God, his whole hand wasn't crushed. Because that was the damn plan. Because anytime you stand and lean forward on somebody's fingers, you're trying to crush their hand. Especially when they're a quarterback and they black. And that's their throwing hand. And there are absolutely no consequences. And everybody try to protect your identity. It's disgusting. Let me see what y'all are saying about this. Oh, I want to play the bigger video because some people say they couldn't see it. This is the larger video we have here. It doesn't have any sound, but that's okay. So y'all can see it, because some people say, well, we couldn't see the video. This is the larger video, so you could see it on your devices. So right here, there's no audio. You see Shedeur Sanders walking off. Now, mind you, you know it's cold, right? Because you can see the air, the breath. So it's freezing. His nail is torn off. This guy, look at how he's leaning forward on Shedeur's finger. This is the tight end, Whiteheart. I can't even think of a reason as to why he would be even standing that close to Shedeur. He clean. This what the NFL want to be? Or is this what they have been? And many of us who grew up with the game young, we didn't know all of this was going on. Had no idea all of this was going on. All of this because it's going to be somebody else. If you keep drafting black quarterbacks, they will get to 17, 18, 19, 20. And they knew 2025 was the year to hit 17, so they stopped it. They succeeded at holding it off at 16 by the disgusting and cruel way they devalued Shedeur in the draft. We already see the malfeasance connected to college. Thankfully, these guys, these young black quarterbacks, are choosing themselves and going back to school. And it's not a coincidence you only hear Dante Moore being pushed up to one team where there already are two other black quarterbacks. And what they going to do to him? This is why I hate he went to Oregon. And black quarterbacks need to stay as far away from Oregon as possible. They need to start choosing these universities carefully about who has their best interest at heart, instead of them being pushed out so they could get devalued and then they go get another black quarterback. But Coach Prime can't have a black quarterback. The white coaches can at Texas Tech and Oregon. And they only used Sharon Moore to recruit Bryce Underwood. And that's why they pushed him out and they're going to try to get somebody else over there. These black quarterbacks better understand. You're walking into enemy hostile territory. You're not safe. You need to send up an SOS, and this is one. You better move accordingly, and you better choose yourself. And if you are already where the call is coming from inside the house, you better protect yourself. Because when they try to step on your hand and break it so you can't be in the game, it's 2 games left. Now, they already got rid of Lamar for the season because they done need him in his back. I've never seen a quarterback need in the back. Why? Because it's the most important position on the team, and it's protected until the quarterback is black. That's what it is. That's just what it is. It says Shedeur franchise Sanders. I know that's right. I know that's right. Shedeur outplayed Josh Allen. Just check the stats. I already know. I could see it without looking at the stats. You can see in the game that Shedeur outplayed Josh Allen. You can see that the plays they were robbed on with Brenda Bates jostling the ball in the end zone. That's touchdown. You can see the field goal kicker. The kicker going to kick, and the holder takes the ball and throws it away so they don't get 3 points. On any other botched field goal video, they are taught for the holder to take the ball if something happens and try to run with it, at least to the ball at the end zone. They were so close to the end zone that he didn't want to run with the ball and get a touchdown. Kevin Stefanski did everything imaginable to not score 3 points or 7 more points. Why? Because the production of the game, led by Sanders, had the score at 24-23. What would have happened had they scored 3 points? The game would have been tied. What about the touchdown to Brenda Bates? There you go. Shedeur Sanders outplayed Josh Allen, the MVP, who stole it from Lamar Jackson. There are no people in that building who can speak up and speak against the abuse and the cruelty of the same levels that Doug Williams faced, that Shedeur is forced to endure. There are more people that spoke up for Doug Williams that speaking up for Shedeur, and this is 2025 and 2026 in a few days. That's cowardly. That's disgusting. But Kevin Stefanski can recruit everybody. What does that say? It's time for some orange jumpsuits to be handed out over there. That's what it is. So, yes, Shedeur Sanders outplayed Josh Allen. You can see that with the naked eye. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay, Tina, got you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It said the white Cleveland fans are stuck in the 50s. That must be what it is. I don't even know why they would want to show up when it was Deshaun Kaiser going 0-15. That was the craziest thing. I went back and checked the average attendance. I'm like, so how do you show up in droves to the tune of 64,000 on average to watch Deshaun Kaiser go 0-16? Are you crazy? And to listen to the guys on the Raw Room talk about how stacked the team is. It don't matter. All they do is acquire talent and squander it. That's the whole point. The team does have good players, but Kevin Stefanski wants to put in the 3s and the 4s so you'll think they're incompetent by rigging the game, faking injuries. All of this is criminal. Rigging and fixing professional sports is criminal. It's a federal offense. And you can be indicted. And yet he doesn't seem concerned. Okay. Donald say, I waited on your videos today, updating us on Shedeur Sanders' finger. And then I went to work giving them folks the business. Shedeur is not safe in Cleveland. He's not. He's not at all. This is an SOS. He's not at all. Word on the street is the Browns are taking a kid out of Oregon in 2026. That's what I just said, right? Dante Moore. I just said it. I hate that kid went to Oregon because they're going to try to push him out. But here's the thing. They still want to get the Manning kid. So personally, I think they're using all these draft picks to try to get as high as possible so somebody can get them and give them their first pick overall in 2027. That's what I think. I think they're trying to take as much capital as possible and entice somebody. Like, who has the 2027 first pick? If that's already been determined through trades, then they know exactly who they're going to barter with. And they want to give them a treasure chest so they can get first overall pick. The Browns had the second overall pick last year and traded it away. I don't know why people holding their breath. Understand this. They still have Deshaun. They probably still playing other quarterbacks that they had to move on from. If they can't get the Manning kid to come out this year, I'm pretty sure it's next year. But it don't even matter. Shedeur's proven QB1. So Stefanski's efforts are really just to expose himself and everybody that he's recruited, that he's working with. And now we can add to the list of Jerry Jeudy. We can add to the list of the entire O-line that's out there playing. 72, 68 for sure. 75 and Jack Conklin for sure. Kevin Stefanski himself. Now add Whiteheart. Add Brendan Bates. So who we going to learn about this week? Who we going to learn about this week? And the week after that. All they're doing is exposing themselves. We know Shedeur is QB1. You can't change that. All you can do is cruel and try to humiliate him and torture him because he's QB1 and you don't like it. That's too goddamn bad. Hey, Niecy, how you doing? Yeah, nephew needs to leave. Yeah, he's not in the right league. That's just what it is. He's just not. No matter what it is. Yes, he's the QB1. Is he in the right league? No, because the league he's in allows black quarterbacks to be abused, traumatized, tortured, and betrayed by their coaches and their O-line and some of their teammates so they don't win, so they can be devalued. There is no devaluing Shedeur Sanders. I'm listening to people today say, you know what, this game was much closer than we thought. What did I tell y'all? That was going to be the narrative. That was the narrative. Not only was the game closer than they thought, the production score, the points they were robbed of by their own head coach, the field goal, Brendan Bates, they won the damn game. So, yeah. Shedeur Sanders went total MVP. There is no devaluing Shedeur Sanders. And if they keep trying to hurt him, the sabotage continues to escalate against his person. It should tell you it's not about his draft stock. It's not about his trade value. It's cruelty about him being a black QB1. Pay attention. I have to look to see if I have the game this week because we definitely going to be watching just like we was pseudo watching last week. I'm going to have a backup plan just in case the Sunday ticket thing kick me off or whatever or block the game from my area. I know to look for that now. And Shedeur knows to look for things too. Just like I know to look beyond Sunday ticket and find another broadcast outlet. Shedeur Sanders knows what to look for in this next game. And Shedeur Sanders, this is your SOS. This is your SOS. Bullies don't quit. They're trying to bully you, and they have escalated the sabotage into hurting your physical person. Heads up. Move accordingly. You're in enemy territory, and you can't trust nobody. It said, I agree, Philadelphia is working on a possible trade for Shedeur. Yeah, I don't know if that's smart. Indeed, he needs to leave. Yeah, he's not in the right league. He's not in the right league at all. It said, we need old man Rivers. That man out there being Peyton Manning. Who the hell needs old man Rivers? See how people just accept foolishness? See how they just accept foolishness? So supposedly Rivers needed insurance to go for another 5 years. So that's why they picked him. They never went back to Colin Kaepernick. They've never asked Cam Ward. And why do you think that is? For the same reason they abusing Shedeur and trying to hurt and make unavailable Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes and Jordan Love and Malik Willis. This is the historic year with black quarterbacks getting ready to tip the scale to the majority of the starters. Everything is rigged. Who's going to the Super Bowl? They don't want Jalen Hurts to go back. So they okay with Caleb Williams going? They just paid his backup $10 million because they didn't think he could do it. Because they didn't want him to do it. Why? Because they had him sacked excessively over 70 times in his rookie season so they could wash their hands of him. That's exactly why Cam Ward has been sacked 50 times. Did we make it to 50? So Tennessee can have an excuse to go back to Will Levis, the white guy that failed. No disrespect to Will Levis. They're just looking for an excuse to go to a player who's not black at QB1 by any means necessary. So it was a shame to hear Cam Newton think it was his personality. I'm like, damn, bro, they really got to you. It's your race, boo. They don't want no more black starting quarterbacks because they already ended the draft with 16, and I got to draft some more. Because if I don't, they're going to be left to their own accord, and they might go and start their own league, and that's what they should do, including Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur, Coach Prime, and Shiloh, and Bucky, they have everything they need to start their own league. Their own professional league where black quarterbacks are respected as human beings and not as a commodity to destroy because we just can't stand to see it. Why would it change over the next couple of years if we are white quarterbacks so there are no black quarterbacks? What you gonna do with them? So there's nowhere to run. If you keep drafting black quarterbacks, they will keep elevating. That's the whole point. You can't hold down greatness. And you don't want greatness no more because it's too much greatness. So by any means necessary. This is your SOS, fellas. You said when Shedeur goes, 12 million fans going with him. Oh, facts. And they better know it. Facts. I say give them what the hell they want and get the hell to stepping. I'm like, you don't want no black quarterbacks? Cool. Let's go over here and start our own thing. That's what needs to happen. That's just what needs to happen. But they have to do it because if somebody else does it, like myself, you know what they're going to do? Constantly pine to want that don't want them. So they have to do it. And I've come to understand that. They have to do it. Sure, it's a great opportunity. Yes, the market can bear it. Yes, you can improve the way the game can be played. Yes, the players that are black can be treated with dignity. Yes, you can have all sorts of kind of players as long as they're talented. But there's no need to ostracize the black players because we're not racist against black quarterbacks. But they'll always be pining for what they think they're missing. And when people say that's the long-held dream, God gonna give you a new dream. Understand that. And that's what needs to happen. Because this is a nightmare. It's not a dream. Especially if you're a black quarterback. It says, sure, to bury Shedeur behind a depth chart as a third stringer. That's what I mean. And no, as a second stringer. They want to bury Shedeur as a QB2 behind Dante Moore. They only want to get out. I'm shocked they would even get Dante Moore. But he did go to Oregon. Again, stay the hell away from Oregon. And he will be over there. And guess what they will do to him? When they get to the summer, they're going to have 3 black quarterbacks vying for one job when they could be on 3 different teams preparing to ball out. Somebody going to have to choose themselves. I'm just saying. Somebody going to have to choose themselves. You got to choose yourself, fellas, because they're not choosing you. They burying you, stacking you together. Gone are the days where they know they can force you to a wide receiver or running back. They can't do that no more. But they can't let you go either. Because if you left to your own accord, you likely going to start your own league. And that's exactly what you should do. Let them have what they want. Adam Berry working with Andrew Berry. Yeah, they sent Dorian Thompson-Robinson over there to Philly. And understand this. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is no longer in the league. He was just drafted in 2023 as a 5th-round QB to Cleveland. Does that sound familiar? Okay. How about the third going to Cleveland? Besides, he has the right to Cleveland paint job. What's that? It said, yeah, it's out of control. Yeah, it's bad. The sabotage has reached physical harm. I'm like, all right, time out. This it now. Ain't nowhere else to go. Because if I didn't succeed at crushing your damn hand, I don't know what I'm going to do to you next. But I'm going to do something. Even if your father right there, I'm going to do something. And I know people watch it, and you see how they got away with it. See, when it was Jerry Judy, they let him catch that smoke. But see how they tried to contain this? It's not viral. See how they trying to contain the story? What I'm going to Yeah, okay. It said the sabotage will continue. Yep. That's facts. That's the facts. It says Shedeur is in a hostile working environment. Right. And there's nobody to protect him. Even though there are federal workplace and rules and regulations against this, there's nobody in the building on his behalf. I'm like, wow, Cleveland is just toxic from top to bottom, inside and out. People need to look into all the type of a workplace abuse happening over there. Because if this is what we're seeing from the outside looking in, it is undoubtedly abuse in the workplace. What the hell is going on that we didn't know about? That's where we are. We're now, what else y'all been doing? See, that's what Kevin Stefanski has invited in. Investigation. Hasn't gonna be forced to tell that team. He better just get ready. It said the obvious is the obvious. Yep, it is definitely that. Yep, people got receipts. It says she will be back. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yep, no, we got receipts. It said the offensive line is sabotaged in the last play of the game. 68 and 72 didn't block any Buffalo players. And why was that? The last 2 minutes of the game. Think about it. Remember, they took Shedeur out the 2-minute drill in the Rams game. They had an opportunity to score in this game. So they did everything imaginable. And 68 and 72, shame on y'all. Y'all gonna get it. 68 and 72, they gonna catch it the hardest along with Jerry Judy. I guarantee you, when everybody go down for this, the white people gonna get off scot-free. But the black people who were dumb enough to let themselves be used to take down a black quarterback with 14 million people watching, all right. Have it your way. So yeah, Shedeur, he got to be on it because bullies don't stop. They're saying Batonio was doing his job Sunday. Right. So who was doing their job Sunday? Pay attention. Jerry Judy, he wasn't tripping no more. Batonio, he wasn't tripping no more. Conklin, they got him out the way. Right. So 72 and 68 going to take the brunt of it. You see, everybody that's analyzing film, I even saw Chase Daniels. Shedeur Sanders is not the problem. You see how they want to call out the black saboteurs? You see? That's why I said if you stupid enough to let these people use you for their benefit, you're going to be the one exposed. It's more people talking about that than it is talking about Whiteheart trying to crush Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand intentionally so he can come out the game. You see? And that's the rules, by the way. 68 and 72 being acting up. Why you won't talk about it now? Because you don't want to talk about the tight end Whiteheart intentionally trying to crush Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand. That's why. You see? The black saboteurs, Jerry Judy, he ain't off scot-free. But you see how they let him catch that heat? But you see how they're protecting Whiteheart? Not even talking about the holder of the ball who threw it in the stands. That play ought to be on a loop on everybody's screen. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Because that was the craziest thing to not get 3 points. It was so unexplainable. Missed snaps happen all the time. You don't throw the ball into the stands. You don't throw the ball. You try to run with it. That's what they practice. See, they want to make you believe all these guys just got together at a park and things just aren't going well because they don't know each other. That's bullshit. The sabotage in the game plan is just as intentional as the cruelty and the torture and the abuse of Shedeur since the spring by head coach Kevin Stefanski. And because he's not out there on the field, he has seemingly recruited other players. So who else has he recruited? Who else will be exposed next week? Because bullies don't stop. We already know about 68, 72, Whiteheart, Brendan Bates, Joel Batonio, Jack Conklin. We already know about them. Who next? Who next want to expose themselves before 14 million people? Because y'all going down for Stefanski. And Stefanski going down for Haslam. The way things are today, they may not be tomorrow. The ugly pattern in Cleveland on how unfriendly they are to black quarterbacks, including the ones they pay $230 million to, that an insurance company is paying their salary after gross workplace negligence. It's evident. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. I rest my case. It says sabotage is predictable play calling, botched field goals, missed blocks, drop passes, and fake injuries. Right, for that in another game. You don't see the same type of I want to say shenanigans, but you don't see all of the sabotage that's taking place in Cleveland. You don't see that on other teams. Just like the injury with Shedeur, that ain't even nowhere near the list of injuries, not even on freak injuries. It's not. It's not an accident. Let me see when it happens to a white quarterback. Let's talk about it then, because it has never happened. It will never happen. It said Kevin flip-flopping on 12 now. He said he completely believes in 12. He can't make it up. He's a lie. He will say anything. I don't know when people going to realize that when somebody put in their bio that they are a servant leader to a damn job, they ain't a servant leader to a job. And how they can easily recruit people. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, you ever saw the movie The Black Klansman? Maybe go watch it. Maybe go watch it. Maybe go watch it. See, I think people just don't understand. They have shown you what they're capable of. Kevin Stefanski was only straightening up and flying right and saying certain things about Shedeur because of the pressure. What happened when Dylan touched that field? He got booed, like really badly. And Batonio and them were trying to tell the fans to quiet down. I don't even know who the hell was booing because I saw a lot of Bills fans there. But they were trying to tell the fans not to boo Dylan. And he went out there and did Dylan things. And now Stefanski is trying to suppress Shedeur to be like Dylan. You know what it is? You know why Stefanski wants to suddenly make Shedeur a check down king? Because he has been accused of making decisions that have nothing to do with football. And you know what decision he made that had nothing to do with football? Expending a third-round pick on an undrafted free agent that could never help the team win. And now you want to put him back out here. They were hoping Shedeur didn't come back. Just like they were probably hoping in Colorado Coach Prime didn't come back. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. So yeah, Kevin Stefanski has been accused of making decisions that are not football-related decisions. So now he's trying to make Shedeur emulate Dylan's game. Because I did for Dylan what I did for him because this is how I coach. I was making football decisions. Anybody that lets Stefanski destroy Dante Moore, Shedeur Sanders, Jameis Winston, or what's his name? Deshaun Watson. We already heard from a fan who's white that told us about Kevin Stefanski's agenda and how he tried to destroy Deshaun into a game manager. That's what he was doing with Shedeur. That's why you kept seeing all those short floater passes that were getting tipped. People was like, why wasn't Shedeur airing it out? Because Kevin Stefanski made the game plan. This is gross on Haslam's part. And he should be forced to sell the team. It said these people are twisted. It said get out Shedeur, right? It said we need to keep up the pressure on the Haslams and social media. They need to be called out. I totally agree. I think if you call out the Browns and their sponsors, that's where it starts. Huntington Bank and Bud Light. That's where it starts. It said, and if Shedeur doesn't get injured in Pittsburgh, he needs to have some pain for the Cincinnati game and sit out. He can't sit out all next year. You know what needs to happen? They need to be held accountable before these last two games. Bullies don't stop until they're forced to stop. This is an SOS. Let's see what happens. If they don't see it, hopefully Shedeur and his people see it. And he better understand you in enemy hostile territory. They ratcheting on up the sabotage. It went from the game to your physical person. You got 2 games left. Do the math. It's going to keep escalating because they desperate. They desperate. It said, remember when the last day of school enemies got beat up? That's it right there. That's it. And people was waiting on that. It said, and it's crazy that other team coaches feel bad. That's why they speak so highly of him. It was their GM and owner decision to sabotage Shedeur. They didn't want to was bullied. What was that? They didn't want to. They was just bullied by them. Right. Because who's doing the bullying in Cleveland? Whose directives? It's all of this torture and cruelty and humiliation. Whose directive you think that is? If I let Deshaun Kaiser go 0-15 or 0-16 with a stacked roster full of talent, and I fired Sashi Brown, who's a black GM, because he wanted to get Lamar. And now I got another black GM, Andrew Berry, who thought he was going to get Shedeur, and I intervened in that. But I couldn't fire him. Why? Because I fired 2 black Harvard grads for getting 2 black quarterbacks. It's going to be obvious. All I see is have him try to sneak out the back door and turn the team over to Andrew Berry so he can enemy territory. Quarterback is the most important position on the team in Cleveland until the quarterback is black. That's just what it is. Them sponsors, Huntington Bank and Bud Light, they cannot be okay with this. They should not be okay with this. Shedeur had a good game when Dion was at the game, but they did sneaky. The line is not blocking anyone. Black players do not stick together like the NBA. I mean, that's obvious. That's obvious, right? And for the guys that we did try to see to stand up, what happened to them? Tony Brown. How come Myles Garrett don't have his record yet? Myles Garrett. Jerry Jeudy spoke up for Shedeur. What happened to him? He got turned. I don't know what the hell they went to him and said. They must have some pictures because that was fast. Denzel Ward. He played in how many games? Retaliation. Even the white player, Wyatt Teller, they won't let him play. Dylan Sampson, all he did was score a touchdown when Shedeur threw the ball. They won't let him play. So Stefanski is manipulating the roster in the depth chart to play players that he can control, to drop passes, or if you the holder of the ball, to throw it into the stands instead of getting 3 points so the field goal kicker can kick it. To manipulate and not protect for the quarterback, not score with the quarterback. All of this is Stefanski, and Haslam is allowing it. Now, it's up to Stefanski to tell the world if it was whose idea it was to let him do this, but it's on him. They said hiding behind the rebuilding phase. They've been rebuilding since 2020. They're not rebuilding. And I don't know when the fans, I'm like, y'all just like let these people play in y'all face. Because they had the number 2 pick last year and traded it. Why the hell wouldn't I trade the number 3 pick? Hell, I might trade the number 1 pick. And they're going to be mad. I told y'all, I'm just going to laugh in their face. I'm like, fool, they had the number 2 pick last year. They won 3 games last year, had a high pick and traded it. And did what with it? Got Mason Graham. He just got his first sack in week 16 because he's white. And who was the second pick? Carson Swessinger. He's good, but he's also white. But everybody else that's good got picked in the 3rd round or late in the 2nd. Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, the whole running room is stacked. It was futile to move out the top 2 running backs because the last 2, the 3 and the 4, they good too. Let's see if they bring Jerome Ford back because he got taken out the game because he was doing well. Anybody that does well and plays well with Shedeur, especially if they black, they going to get it. And if you white on the O-line, you're going to get it too. They actually waived a white O-lineman because he protected for Shedeur. And they never take 68 and 72 out the game. They must think because we can see that those 2 are black. Oh, it's not racism. Yes, the hell it is. Black people help further white supremacy all the time. Candace Owens, Jason Whitlock, come the hell on. They're the same 2 people. They think their intelligence is low in the first place. So they use them and discard them. They said Kevin started gaslighting today by trying to give. He always does that. Lately, ever since he got in trouble, he has to say good things about Shedeur because of the pressure. Because people are calling him out. He don't like Shedeur. Look at how he's trying to sabotage Shedeur. So he figures that people are stupid, and if he just says anything that's positive or use his name a couple times in a sentence, that we don't notice the sabotage. We are not done. 68 and 72 might be. Jerry Judy might be. But black people are not done. It said the destruction of the black quarterback. That's it. It said he is trash. There needs to be an investigation into the abuse of the quarterback. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. 68 is not NFL caliber, and he's the left tackle on Shedeur's blind side. Yep. Then why he don't get benched? Agent Stefanski, you are exposed. Facts. It said one of the defensive linemen for the Buffalo told how the old linemen on the Browns were not blocking for Shedeur. He said he waved his hand and the tackle fell on the ground. Yeah, you can see that. And he probably was talking about 68. It's either 68 or 72. They take turns. You know, if they not trying to push the people into Shedeur, the linemen, they just fall on the ground. I mean, that's just what it is, right? It's all kind of corruption happening over there. And the fact that 72 triggered 3 penalties before we even got to the half, and they refused to take him out the game. Cornelius Lucas is healthy. Why they don't put him in? Because he's better at protecting the quarterback. He likely will. And obviously they don't feel like they have no leverage on him to recruit him to sell out Shedeur. There are other players on the depth chart that can play. Kevin Stefanski is playing players in key positions that he can control and apparently intimidate or coerce or recruit to happily sabotage the quarterback, including by stepping on his hand, his throwing hand. People are calling for an investigation. The question is, who's going to investigate? Because the NFL cannot be trusted to self-investigate. Been there, done that. Who's going to investigate? Criminal charges need to be brought against Stefanski. I totally agree. It says Shedeur outplayed Josh Allen with a bad team and almost won, but all you hear is about is 2 interceptions, like QBs don't throw interceptions. It shows you how black QBs stay under the microscope. Right. Here's the thing, right? Josh, they were talking about Shedeur being sacked. I'm like, Josh Allen got sacked. Y'all didn't say nothing. Talking about, they praising Mike Tomlin. I'm like, y'all was trying to fire him last week. Black coaches too. That's why there's a lawsuit right now, class action lawsuit against black coaches. When these black quarterbacks gonna get together and launch their own class action lawsuit? You can't have the love of the game be more than you value yourself. You see, you can't get away with I love playing football. You can play football for anybody. You can go play football for yourself. You can't even justify staying in a league that continuously holds you up like Simba, but abuses you so everybody can see, humiliates you so everybody can see, keep you injured so you can't even enjoy the money in your later years if you still have it. Won't even give you guaranteed contracts. Y'all will never get to a billionaire. But LeBron is. You can't even hide behind, I love playing the game. Do you love yourself? Do you love yourself? That's the question. Because it's easy to turn people against people that look like them when they don't even love themselves. That tells you the mindset of certain players, that they can intimidate and weaponize black quarterbacks. Wyatt Teller said, I'm not injured, and they still have him listed as injured. And nobody does anything. Just a bunch of cowards over there. It's more them than it is Stefanski, or unless they scared of somebody else. Like I said, these last 2 games is going to keep exposing who all is involved. Like we say, who all over there? Who all is involved? That's what we learn every week. All we learn every week is who else is involved. So we're going to learn through these last 2 games who else is involved. So, okay, have it your way. You didn't want Shedeur before even the combine, but you thought to be greedy and bring him in for likes and clicks. Well, guess what? He made it all the way to QB1, and now you're trying to harm his person. So he's unavailable. Stay safe, Shedeur. So we can see who all over there. Who all is involved. 2 more games. It said, I'll take a whistleblower from within an organization to shed light. Yeah, it will. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about the Enron. If you study business, there was a company called Enron who had corruption at the highest levels, and they thought they were so sophisticated that they hired people who were intentionally hired for the sole purpose of taking the fall should the scandal go public. Thankfully, a whistleblower, I think it was a woman, a whistleblower came forward and found out that not only was it planned, that the people at the top knew that certain people were hired in the middle to take the fall so they don't have to, but they got exposed. They got exposed at the high levels, and the CEO of the company, I think he offed himself. Yeah, I guess he couldn't deal with the embarrassment. I don't know why the Browns think they safe, because they not. But we got 2 more games. Let's see what happens. And it wouldn't even surprise me if the only reason they didn't even want Shedeur, not just because we don't want 17 black quarterbacks, because I got Miro over there, is because he came with 8 million eyes. And now he got about 20 million eyes, 24 million eyes, 28 million eyes. I think that's why they didn't want Shedeur, because they know he'll doubt. They know he can win. They know they can make money with him, but they don't want the accountability of the public. 14 million people seeing what they really made up of over there and how they really treat black quarterbacks, especially in a year, or how they abuse black quarterbacks, especially in a year where black quarterbacks are at the cusp of becoming the majority at QB1, especially after 2021, when they just quietly settled $1 billion lawsuit because they said black players in the NFL, regardless of position, are dumber than white players, and we don't need to pay you for CTE because y'all dumb. That's why I think they didn't want Shedeur, because they got secrets. And they knew they were going to want to hold him back, and they didn't want us to see. Too bad, we see. And we taking notes. And there will be action, because it's going to come out of nowhere. So good luck to you. That's all I can say. 2 more games. Yep, 2 games left. Protect yourself, Shedeur, and put these folks on notice that we see them. That's facts. That's why they were trying to ask him about his fan base. What they need to understand is, I was a lady at the game who said, I'm a Commanders fan. She was at the game, but I'm here for Shedeur Sanders. Understand this. You're going to go to war with NFL fans. You're not just going to war with people who knew Shedeur, like Shedeur from Colorado or from wherever you think they came from. You're going to war with NFL fans over the abuse of a cultural icon who is the best quarterback in the last draft, the 26th draft, and probably the 27th draft, that y'all are over there letting be abused by somebody who describes themselves as a servant leader of the Cleveland Browns, and he can manage to, like that, recruit people to step on the hand, the throwing hand of a black quarterback who you don't want to be successful with, because he's too damn elite. So he's allowed to be suppressed and broken down into a check down king. That's disgusting. That's ruining the brand. But I guess by any means necessary when the quarterback is black. They don't want this smoke. It says Shedeur was smart by telling the media to take a look at the film to see what happened to his finger. He knows and see. Yeah, he knew. He knew, because he had to get the damn dude feet off of him. He knew what was going on. He knew exactly what was going on. Haslam needs to be held accountable. I totally agree. Andrew Berry, yeah. I know he better see it. He better do something. Because guess what? Now, see, that's where it's going to get wicked at. See, they was already trying to fire Andrew Berry. I want you to think about this. He the GM. But see, the way Haslam set it up, they're parallel. But watch they try. See, I'm telling you, I see Haslam trying to sneak out the door. That's why you're hearing all of the talk about Andrew Berry taking over. Because when this thing blow, Haslam gonna be gone. Andrew Berry gonna be the boss. And Stefanski gonna be absolved because it's gonna be Berry's fault. Berry has already been to blame for drafting Deshaun. That wasn't on him. Haslam said, what? Go get me that guy. What the hell did Haslam do this year? He fired up his goddamn jet. They went down to the Ohio State-Texas game. And when Ohio State lost that game, and it was apparent that the Manning kid can't come out number one, they can't rig the Heisman and give it to him. Who the hell did he have with him in tow? Andrew Berry. Go get me one of these guys. Can you guess which guy it is? The Manning kid. So when Ohio State lost, what was the first thing Haslam said? Yeah, we can't move Deshaun. That's the same shit they said so they don't get Shedeur. So they can't get Dante. Thank God. It's a shame the number of people who work over there. All got that damn email with Shedeur Sanders' phone number, including the waiver wire, who knew when he was throwing to the water boy and the equipment boy, it meant they was going to waive him. It's a damn shame how disgusting the torture, the abuse has been behind the scenes. So much so that Shedeur talked about how difficult it was. And look at what the hell we are seeing publicly. So if this is what you're willing to do publicly, what the hell was you over there doing privately? That's what needs to be investigated. And everybody over there ought to be made to stay over there until they are interviewed about what the hell is going on. And anybody fired within the last 5 years needs to be called back to be interviewed and investigated. I can't wait to start hearing the stories on why you didn't say nothing. Nobody over there has any courage. Not even the damn girl they had running around chasing Shedeur off the goddamn clock. She ought to be the goddamn whistleblower. Somebody gonna step up. Because we got 2 games left and by any means necessary. And I was right last week and I'm right this week unless they see this SOS and decide to say, you know what? The heat is hot. Knock it off. Because that's all they're going to say. Knock it off. As if Shedeur is not human. But Stefanski been dehumanizing Shedeur all spring, summer, and shit. Fall, and it's winter now. It's winter now. And that's why Whiteheart could step on Shedeur Sanders' hand and not give a damn and try to break it. Because Stefanski has been over there dehumanizing Shedeur, and that's the culture he set. Somebody needs to get him fitted for his orange jumpsuit. This is more than a violation of civil rights. This is a violation of human rights. They got damn human rights crisis over there in Berea, and they trying to move to Brook Park and take their secrets with them. And nobody over there has the courage to say anything. Disgusting, all of them. He did that on purpose. He sure did. It says someone needs to send a tape to the NFL. They saw shit. They saw. Hell, they probably the reason we didn't know his name. They saw the damn tape. They know what it is. Myles Garrett and the team need to whip you out. What I say. That what I say. Yes, cruelty is the point, and that's what people need to understand. That's what people need to understand about what's happening with Shedeur. It's disgusting. It's meant to be humiliating. It's meant to betray him. It's meant to say, we don't want you. We don't value. It's meant to dehumanize him. You do not step on another person that's on TV. These old tactics that they're using from the days of Doug Williams and trying to use the same ignorant tactics in modern society with social media. Who's the dumbass? Let's just be honest. Whose cognitive thinking is not up to par? Just dumb criminals. Trying to bully somebody in front of 14 million people. Okay. As long as he's safe. And he better be safe these last 2 games. Because they're going to try it. Bullies don't stop until they are forced to. Whiteheart. It said, that's who I've been saying is one of Kevin Secret's agents. Funny, Bucky recording him slapping Shedeur on the butt after the game. I think that's why Vicky caught that, because I thought it odd. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is Vicky? The fix is in. Yep, the fix is in. And I find it funny that out of all of the so-called pro Shedeur's channels, you are the only one covering this and exposing the video. They all acting like they ain't see it. You know why? Because they don't want to hold them accountable, because they just doing it for the likes and clicks. I don't care if they look like us. I don't care if they cover Colorado. If they ain't talking about this, they are not friends of Shedeur. But I guarantee you, what did I tell y'all? Shedeur's on a journey where he's learning who's going to go with him and who he absolutely has to leave behind. This is a part of that. They all should be talking about this. But they just chasing the algorithm, just chasing likes and clicks, chasing the money. They don't give a damn about Shedeur. They don't give two rats ass about Shedeur at all. And it'll be the first person trying to stand there and get something from him. I tried searching the video to find out who stepped on his hand, and you're the only video that comes up. I saw that too. It's that the NFL ain't even replayed the injury. Right. It's that probably scrubbed it from the internet. Let me tell you something. They didn't want this to get out at all. When remember last night when I was telling y'all, see, I went live at about 1:30 in the morning. Shout out to y'all that hopped on. Because I told y'all at about 10:35, I was looking and I couldn't find. I even found a story that said nobody stepped on Shedeur's hand. I found a story that said it was the opposing team. So they trying to confuse. They are trying to confuse, but videos don't lie. And it didn't take much. I just watched the highlights. I watched several different angles of the game. And Whiteheart's shoes and his socks, the way he wears his socks disheveled. A lot of the old linemen wear their socks up to their knees. He's the only one with black shoes with white tape who has calves. Corley has shoes with white tape, but they not like his shoes. It was obvious. And I knew this earlier today and didn't put it out. I intentionally. I said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep watching film to make sure. And every time I saw him on the field, whether he was on the right or the left, his shoes kept popping out because nobody else's shoes were like his that are black with white tape, with his socks being short. Nobody else even had the shoes. 68 wears Jordans. So I immediately knew what he had on his feet. People thought it was 72. I looked at him, different shoes. You could see it from a distance. So imagine me zooming it down when they're entering and exiting the game and lining up for different plays. His shoes stands out, and those are his calves. Nobody else is built like that. And white men typically have bigger calves than black men. If you work out, you know. So if he's not a big person like 68 and 72, and he's not. He's a smaller framed person, but he's still kind of sizable. That's why his calves look like that. And he has on those socks and those shoes with the white tape. Nobody else has that. He stood out like a sore thumb. And the media knew it was him and didn't want to tell everybody his name. But they didn't care that Jerry Jeudy got that smoke. Jerry ought to feel stupid because it didn't take long for them to show them true selves. They sent him over there to act stupid with Shedeur. They sent him to do that. Think about it. It didn't even make sense because he hadn't even been playing well. They sent him to do that. And they sent Whiteheart, but they protected Whiteheart, but they didn't protect Jeudy. Oh, I can't wait for the whistleblower. I can't wait. I can't wait because you know what's coming. It said the fake and false narratives are brewing about the black quarterbacks. Right. It says social media just needs to be utilized to expose this, just like Jerry Jeudy. Right. And as you can see, the media ain't talking about it. It said Jackson Dart had a horrible game yesterday and no one talked about it at all. All you hear is Shedeur is not good. Yeah. And guess what? That's futile because the fans have chosen Shedeur as QB1. The fans have. Anytime you send Dylan out there and they start booing and the lineman trying to tell them to be quiet and they don't, you're not going to tell them fans that the game is still sparsely attended. It was a lot of Bills fans there. I'm assuming that Browns people sold their tickets to Bills fans. It was a lot of red and blue a lot of red and blue. They can keep playing if they want to. The fans have spoken. It's futile to keep setting Shedeur up, but it tells you that there's another motive. It also will tell you who else is involved. And what did I say? If Haslam don't fire Stefanski, how high up the corruption goes. It's going to be too late to turn it over to Andrew Berry next season. The damage is already done and it's documented. Yeah, it's messed up. Yep. That's just what it is. Did they address the holder who threw the ball away? I did, but did anybody else? Did anybody else even talk about the guy who took the ball and threw it into the stands? That's not what's done when the ball is missnapped. They have a plan for when the ball is missnapped. They sent him to do that too. They is Kevin Stefanski. His orange jumpsuit is waiting. His orange jumpsuit is waiting. And he don't believe it. And you know why? Because he arrogant. See, Stefanski's arrogant. And he a Nepo baby. So he feels virtually untouchable. But the unexpected will have the last say. And so will a whistleblower, because there is one around there. It's too many people involved. It said, together we stand. That's right. That's facts. Since Shedeur's status is being evaluated, they're trying to force his interception stats. Right. And here's what, by making Shedeur a check down king and trying to throw these balls across these guys that's looking for the check down, that's why he keeps getting tipped. Notice the balls are tipped. And people are like, why are you trying to blame him for that? But again, that's the minions in the media. They have already lost this battle. The fans have let it be known. Shedeur Sanders is QB1. You can't even deny the fact that he went toe-to-toe with Josh Allen. We'll give a damn about them interceptions. And that was actually said on social media. People was like, first of all, the ball was tipped. So people are going at the analysts on social media, on platforms like X. They letting them know. Josh Allen has sacks. Go talk about that. We don't want to hear about no interceptions. You got this kid out here going toe-to-toe with Josh Allen. That's what we want to see. And Kevin Stefanski robbed the fans of seeing that, trying to manipulate it and contain Shedeur as if it's not documented and we can't see. How dumb can you be? How dumb can you be? Yeah, stay away from Oregon. Black quarterbacks need to stay away from Oregon. I totally agree. Whiteheart is one of those people in the 7th round picks that's not good. Okay, so I want y'all to think about that. Remember what happened to Shiloh? Remember the guy that baited Shiloh in? Wasn't he a tight end also? And wasn't he white in the Bills? And remember, I looked him up on the depth chart and he was 4th. He was sharing 3 spots. He was sharing 1 spot with 3 other people and he got cut. I wonder if his paycheck was different before he got cut. I wonder if Whiteheart paycheck gonna be different before he get cut. It honestly is making you think bribery. It's making you think bribery. People need to look into it. Hopefully Shedeur went straight to the hospital from the game. Right. That's facts. I wouldn't trust nobody. Facts. I totally agree. Totally agree. Totally agree. Those co-hosts needs to leave Acho's show right now. Any podcast that is pro Shedeur would get plenty of views. Yeah, Acho, I don't watch him like that. It said they rub it in our faces when they partner with gambling houses. Yep. Save our Shedeur. SOS. Facts. Facts. That's what it is. Losing a season for a first-round draft pick is crazy. And here's the thing. They ain't even losing a season for a first-round draft pick. They had a second-round draft pick last year. You know you could trade up. They're not losing nothing for nobody. They're not even doing this. See, that's what people don't understand, how sinister this is. They are tanking because they didn't get rid of nobody. They're not trying to get the first-round pick because they have a 5th round. They have a first-round pick at the 5. Now they have it at the 3. All I got to do is what I should have done last year. Take the 2 and trade up to the 1. But who does that? These teams work together. Okay, you're going to get Shedeur, I'm going to get Cam. They don't have to do all of that. They're not losing. They lose it because they have a black quarterback and they're trying to get to a white one. And if they have to snatch up every black quarterback to draft and destroy until the white one becomes available in 2027, then that's what I'm going to do. And they know that the Manning kid is not better than Shedeur. They do not care. You are seeing these check downs because by the time the Manning kid will come, you will think he is a hero. It's manipulation, psychological manipulation to starve you for the talent. So when they get him, you'll think, yay. But it's too late. Shedeur's already proven who he is. Even while being sabotaged. See, that's the kicker. Shedeur's good even while being held back. Even the games he won, be it preseason or regular season, he was being held back and still balled out. So Kevin Stefanski is wasting his damn time. Because even if he get injured, he's going to heal. It ain't but 2 games left. But if you do that, it's on. And somebody over there better muster up some courage to file a complaint or do something. I watched it on Paramount Plus. Yeah, that's what I watched it. I don't know what the Steelers game is coming on. I gotta check. I just gotta check. So yeah, Coach Prime gonna need to keep coming to the games, y'all. Coach Prime gonna need to keep coming to the games because they gonna try to get sneaky with it, and that forces them onto the cameras because the cameraman stay on Stefanski. He stay on Stefanski. But it's crazy how Whiteheart didn't think the camera would catch him intentionally applying pressure moving forward to try to crush Shedeur's hand. Luckily, he only got the pinky, but he ripped the nail off, and that had to be painful. I know that that's painful. Matter of fact, I got to go to the nail salon tomorrow. I know that that's painful. Yeah, remember when I broke my finger at the middle, he tore Shedeur nail off the nail bed, and it's freezing out there. That's excruciating pain. He knew Shedeur was there. He was standing so close, he could have just fell on it. But he wanted to do damage to the hand because that was the goal. And the fact that they tried to cover it up tells you that that's what it was. They realized the checks and downs on the sports shows today. Yeah, the check downs. That's all it was check downs. We need to be loud about the sabotage. I totally agree. And retweet, share, hype up the video. If you see the video, hype it up, retweet it, share it, because it's on. I put it on X, it's on TikTok, it's on IG, it's on YouTube, any platform. Retweet, reshare, post, repost button, and comment, right? Comment, engage people in the comments, because people have thoughts about this, right? People have thoughts about this, and as they should, right? Because what's happening to Shedeur is cruelty, and cruelty is the point. And we're not going to stand by and watch the Cleveland Browns or the NFL abuse Shedeur Sanders or any other black quarterback because they're black. You don't want black quarterbacks in the NFL, then stop goddamn it drafting them. And they can go on about their weight and start their own league. But you don't want that either. So you're trying to control the world. Just like the Joker in Batman. Trying to control everything. When all you need to be able to control is yourself. Y'all ain't Jesus. That's what's crazy to me. Kevin Stefanski is listed as a devout Catholic. That's a damn lie. Because he clearly don't believe in God or the Pope. With the way he out here rigging these games. Okay, so the video I posted, the short is already at 8,000. So if you see it, like it, just get, put it out there. It's getting traction. People gonna talk about it. Let's see if the Shedeur Files pick it up, because that's huge. Matter of fact, if y'all have the video, share it and go to the Shedeur Files and tag them or send it to them. You can send it to their DMs, or you can tag them on all platforms at the Shedeur Files. But I'm probably gonna send it to them directly. So I don't know if they're gonna talk about it or not, because I don't know who run that channel. But it needs to get to that level, right? So we'll see. And I got a little bit on these other platforms when it's all happening at the same time. So, and I'll be back. Tomorrow. We're gonna take a look at some of these faulty plays that robbed the Browns, led by Shedeur Sanders. Point. We have a tight end mimicking Mark Andrews. That seemed to be a go-to play with a tight end that's typically white that they use. And we already looked at stepping on Shedeur's hand. We probably gonna take a look at the O lineman and just look at some of the check down plays and look at that field goal when number 13 took the ball and threw it to the cameraman. Now, here's what was interesting. Just like Whiteheart, his actions after stepping on Shedeur's hand, he wasn't, oh, my bad. I didn't know. None of that. The kicker, the guy, the snapper, the holder of the ball, he did the same thing. He just threw the ball away and put his hands in his pocket and walked on. No consequences for either. When the quarterback is the most important position on the team in Cleveland, unless the quarterback is black. And we sticking by that. We will not allow them to abuse Shedeur Sanders because he's black. And no other black quarterback that come through Cleveland, including Dante Moore, should he find himself there. So, anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, guys. I appreciate the dialogue and the engagement tonight. I'm glad y'all seeing this firsthand so you can know what happened, because the media tried to put a lid on it, didn't want to talk about it, but they let Jerry Jeudy catch that smoke, didn't they? But they protected Whiteheart. But you can go look at the highlights yourself. It's definitely him. But people already knew it was him anyway. So I'll be back tomorrow night, or maybe tomorrow during the day at some point with some breaking news. So I'll see y'all later. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. We still rolling with 12, and we're going to protect 12. And 12, we need you to protect yourself out there. 2 more games. Good night, everybody.